Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It is 7:06. It's O'Connor and Company here on a busy Tuesday morning. It is everyone's Tuesday is busy though, isn't it? Who doesn't have a busy day today?
Tuesdays are busy,
right?
Yeah.
What Mercedes yesterday, who does not usually do the Monday shift, was a little overwhelmed by the news cycle and the guests. And
that was funny. She was like, "That's a busy day."
Julie Gunlock is back in the saddle here on this Tuesday, and coming up at 7:35, we're going to speak with Jack Evans, a former D.C. council member on the crime bill. 8:05, Kash Patel is going to join us. We're going to hopefully get from him not only a reflection on these January 6 reports, but also Robert Hur, the U.S. attorney who was the special prosecutor in the Biden classified documents case, who wrote that scathing report. He's testifying on Capitol Hill today, and we'll see. We'll ask Kash Patel about that. Also, Jordan Harmon is going to join us from Angel Studios about the Cabrini film, this new film called Cabrini that they've just released, right?
Such a great film. I watched it last night.
Sorry, I'm not getting any feedback, so I got to reveal the curtain here. Do we have Grover or no? No Grover. Okay, so we'll try to hook up with Grover Norquist in a few moments. But I do want to, delve into this Robert Hur testimony today. So this is a career U.S. attorney. He was the special prosecutor in the classified documents case. He put out the statement that basically said, yeah, we see violations of the law here, but we're not going to pursue any criminal charges because it's not going to go anywhere with a jury. They're going to see Joe Biden as a sympathetic old man.
Yes,
and he's
with
not
memory memory problems.
Right. So the question is, what Robert Hur shows up today? The guy who wrote that and actually wants to pursue the truth, or the guy who, at a time in his life, in his career, is really worried about making sure that he will work in this town again?
Let's hope that he acts more like the IRS whistleblowers.
Yeah.
Both who identify as Democrats, I believe, and we're very brave.
Everything I know about him tells me that that's what he'll do, but everything I know about this town,
I know, I get it,
tells me that he's going to say what he needs to say to get that partnership at the big K Street law firm.
Yeah.
Grover Norquist joins us now, Americans for Tax Reform. And Grover, we're starting first of all, good morning. Good to talk with you, my friend.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
So Joe Biden put out his proposed budgets, and boy, oh boy, I'm shocked actually in an election year that he's sort of revealing the fact that he's dying to raise our taxes.
I guess he doesn't remember Mr. Mondale, who announced, I'm raising taxes. He is pretending that he's only going to raise taxes on other people, not those of you in the room here.
Yeah, Grover, he keeps saying this thing. He keeps saying no one making under $400,000 is going to pay more taxes. But that's already been violated, hasn't it?
Well, it has been. But also keep in mind that $400,000 is not what it used to be because of his inflation. So we're talking down to $330,000 now. Give it another 4 or 5 years, and it'll keep going down and down and down in terms of hitting more people. But it's a lie from the start. He wants to take the corporate income tax from 21%, which is where Trump and the Republicans brought it down to, up to 28%, and add an average of 4% state taxes, so 32% on companies. China, in their competitive markets, has a 15% tax, 25% for some, 15% for the important stuff. He wants to go higher than China. So he would take us and make us non-competitive with China across the board on every industry in the world, and not just China. European average is under 28%. Heck, Ireland's at 12.5%. I think it's 9% in Hungary. We would once again go to being one of the highest taxed business, investment non-opportunities in the country. And here's the problem he has. When you poll people, the American people know that corporations don't pay taxes. There is no Mr. General Motors. That taxes are paid by workers and lower wages.
Right.
Taxes, 70% of what a company spends is wages. So if you take $1,000 out of a company, you take $700 out of wages. And then, of course, prices go up. So consumers pay for it. And they used to be able to say, well, investors will pay for it. Well, half the country now has a 401k or an IRA, more than that, union pensions and so on. The American people have figured out that they pay the corporate income tax. They pay it in their retirement savings, which go down. They pay it because their wages don't increase. They pay it because their consumer prices, what they buy at the store, goes up. And he looks at people and goes, oh, this won't affect you.
Right.
And people know better than that.
I hope they know better than that. And I know that you and the folks at American Tax Reform, Grover, are doing their best to get the word out there. And I need more politicians to be able to go on television and properly articulate that point. Because Joe Biden has engineered the most regressive tax increase on poor people in this country. Inflation is the way it is because of government spending. There's no two ways around it. Even left-wing Paul Krugman economists will concede that fact. So when you have to pay more for milk and eggs and bread at the grocery store, and you didn't get a raise to equate to the price increases, that's a tax. That's the government forcing you to pay more money out of your pocket for the basic necessities. And it couldn't get more regressive. And it's all Joe Biden and the Democrats' fault. There's no two ways about it.
He knows that, and he doesn't care. That's what's so interesting. Our friends on the left say they do this in the name of helping working people or poor people or whatever. And then what they do damages the very people they say they wanted to help. And it doesn't bother them. You think they'd be pulling their hair out there. Oh, my goodness. We were trying to do one thing, and we shot the hostages, instead of the bad guys. They know that they're hurting these people. They don't care. And they hurt all Americans. But, again, the people they claim to care about, they damage the most. Yeah. It is an expropriation. If you have $10 in your pocket, and it was there since Biden got elected, it's worth 18% less than it used to be. Now, it's not $1 anymore.
Now, of course, some of the reasoning I've seen for these tax increases, they're blaming it, of course, on Trump, saying that the spending on interest of the U.S. debt is now the fastest growing part of the budget. It even is about to overtake national spending on defense. And, of course, I've seen some people on Twitter saying that it's because of the tax cuts enacted by former President Donald Trump. How do you respond to that?
Well, there are two things. One, when Trump was president, we didn't have serious inflation, and we had significant economic growth. In the third year of the Trump tax cut, just as predicted by Trump's economists, you saw, because there was more saving and investment flowing into American businesses to hire more people and make people more productive, the median income, half the people make more than this guy, half the people make less than this guy, absolutely no, increased 6.8%. A bigger increase than all 8 years of Obama, a bigger increase than all the years of Obama put together. And that was interrupted by COVID,
right?
And the shutdowns, which many of the Democratic governors were the most enthusiastic participants in making that happen. But so you had economic growth, but the other, the corporate income tax itself, which was brought down, actually didn't, quote unquote, cost much at all, because it didn't reduce corporate revenues the way they expected it to, because there was so much growth. It is true that when you have more economic growth, you actually get more money out of the economy at lower rates.
Real fast, Grover Norquist, we only have a minute left. There was a time when you would have, I think you still do, have congressmen, mostly Republicans, sign the no tax increase pledge. And that you don't want to get on the wrong side of Grover Norquist when it comes to taxes if you're a member of Congress. What's the temperature like right now on Capitol Hill, where Speaker Johnson only has a 2-seat majority to work with? This budget is not going anywhere, is it?
No, this budget is not going anywhere. It's interesting that Biden has decided to put out a massive tax increase on workers, on businesses, on consumers at a time when we can now have a discussion about what he wants to do and how damaging it will be. The good news is the vast majority of Republicans signed the pledge and kept it. Since 1994, we haven't had a tax increase, and since 1990, we haven't had a tax increase in Washington because the Republicans, one, have all signed the pledge, And they've had strong support in Congress and been able to strong numbers in Congress. So there will not be a tax increase unless the Democrats win the House, Senate, and the presidency. And that's what Trump and the Republicans need to remind people, the business community and serious people about the economy. If you put those three together, they will raise those taxes and all the taxes they're talking about. And we will see a significant slowdown in even worse than what we have right now, a slowdown in the economy. And unfortunately, because of its spending, more inflation.
All right. Grover Norquist, thanks for joining us. Good to always get a reality check from you and the folks at Americans for Tax Reform. Thanks, Grover.